Hare Krishna, thanks for joining in. So we are in the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So as I mentioned last week, so we will not go through the summary or the revision. Because already I sent for second chapter also the Kahoot quiz. First chapter also I have sent it. Like, please, if you have not gone through it, please do it. So it would be a good revision. So once everyone completed the second chapter of the Kahoot quiz, then I will start for the third chapter also. Please have that like a revision done. So because as we move, we need more time to cover the topics. Okay, the because we are going to complete the Karma Yoga section of the Bhagavad Gita. So sixth chapter, we covered the 31st sloka. Let's start with the 32nd sloka. Okay. So sixth chapter is talking about like a Ashtanga Yoga predominantly. So that is what like we are going to see. So 31st, 32nd sloka. आत्माओपम्येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति योऽर्जुन सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः. Sukham, Dukham, like okay, we Dukham. Sukham means like a happiness, and the Dukham means like a distress. He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings. We already seen multiple times, like a we have to see all the living entities like in a similar manner because every one of us, Vishnu or Krishna is represented in every one of us, correct? By comparison to his own self, so he is not comparing with anyone else. The true yogi is comparing himself, okay, with his own self, sees the true equality of all beings. Like he is just seeing the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress. Because we may like someone when we are in happy mood, or like when that person is in happy mood. The other way around also, when we are sad, like we will not see anyone, like we won't like to see anyone who is in a happy mood. Or the other way around, like when someone is uh, in a very sorrow state, like we might be happy internally. So that shouldn't be the case. Perfect yogi, like who sees himself like okay in a similar manner, either in happiness or in distress state, and he will see the true equality like in other living beings also. So that is what like been covered. So that can be achieved only and only if you able to see Krishna in every one of the living beings heart. If you see like a only that person is a what a rich man, or like that person is a poor man, then we will never be able to achieve this state. Like then we can never go into the sthita prajna state. That is what been covered here. Um, the next sloka. Arjuna Vacha. Till now, Krishna is speaking. Okay, now Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna Vacha. Yo yam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami. Pashyami means, what is the meaning of pashyami?
Forget.
For seeing, correct, yeah, seeing. Sanchalatvat sthitam stiram. Sanchalavat means like a sanchalam means sanchalam ki manaha Krishna. We already saw this sloka, correct? So sanchala means like it is very turbulent, like it will be keep on moving here and there, not at a steady state, correct? Due to being restlessness. Sthitam means like
That
a situated, and a stiram means like a stable. So Arjun
is
said,
it
yes,
Chanchalam or Sanchalam?
yeah, chanchalam.
Chanchalam, right?
Yeah, correct.
Chanchalam Himana Krishna.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, correct, Marji. Yeah. Sanchalam ki manah Krishna pravati balavat ridam tasyaham nigraham manye
Brahmanya
vayuriva
Vayoriva
correct.
Sudhikaram.
Yeah, correct. Very good. Yeah. So Arjuna said, "Oh Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady." I think it would be coming in the upcoming sloka only. So Arjuna listening all these like whatever Krishna says as a Siddha Prajna, the yogi has to see everyone in a similar manner. Okay, they have to see the super soul. They have to treat the happiness and the distress in a similar manner. Uh, so he should not bothered with whatever happening surrounding to him. He has to see in a equal position all the time. So then. Arjuna listening all these things, then he is asking this question on behalf of all of us. He'll say it is impractical. Is bluntly saying to Krishna, "Oh Madhusudana, why Krishna been called as Madhusudana?"
Because he's the
Oh,
one
because
who killed the Rakshasa called Madhu. Hello? Hello?
I
Yeah, sorry,
think there's
Madhvi.
some.
I was talking on mute. Yeah. So what
Okay. Okay.
Krishna says, sorry, Arjuna says, Krishna, whatever.
Madhusudana, Madhusudana, because he's the Krishna killed the Rakshasa called Madhu.
Yeah,
That
correct.
is why
Correct,
that's why it's called
exactly.
Madhu.
Yeah, yeah. So Krishna would be very very happy when we are calling him like a associated with his devotees, for example Nanda Nandana, Yashoda Nandana, okay, Devaki Nandana. Likewise, while we are calling, he would be even more happier. So these kind of the other names of Krishna, while Arjuna is referring, he would be so satisfied internally. Like okay, Arjuna said, "Oh Madhusudana, the system of yoga, whatever the Sita Prajna state which you are trying to explain, it seems like it is impractical. It may be good for theory purpose, but it is impractical. There is, it is not able to. I would not be able to practice it, or I don't know how others can practice it, and unendurable to me. Like okay, I don't think it is possible to sustain this like a forever for the mind, because the mind is restless and unsteady. Mind cannot be like okay in a steady state. So Arjuna asking this question to Krishna um, on behalf of all of us. Okay. So this he asked in the Dwapara Yuga. If Dwapara Yuga for Arjuna this is the state, then what to speak of like the people in Kali Yuga? It is very very tough, correct? But how Krishna is going to address this particular thing, let us see. Okay, that is what this sloka. संचरं की मनः कृष्ण प्रमाति बलवद्रुदं तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायोर इव सुदुष्करम. This sloka has to be remembered. Okay, please revise and remember this sloka. Very, very important sloka, because we will face this situation very often in our life. It would be impossible for us to control the mind, but it is possible if we follow these slokas and if we follow the Bhagavad Gita. So Sanchalam ki manaha Krishna. Sanchalam means flickering. Mind is wandering here and there. By sitting in one place, we can travel all around the universe. Okay, that is the power of mind. It can be used in a proper manner. It can be misused also. So Sanchalam ki, certainly manaha mind. Krishna, oh Krishna. Pramati, it is agitating. Okay, it will not, it will be like a restlessness. Balavat, like it is strong. Dridam, obstinate. Tasya, it is aham, I. Nigraham. Nigraham means like a subduing. Mani, I think. Vayu. Vayu means like the wind. Vayu, we will say na Vayu Bhagavan, correct? The wind. Eva like Suduskaram. Duskaram means difficult, okay. Suduskaram means like a very difficult. So the same similar manner, like okay, Susukam. also will come. Which sloka Susukam will come? So if you put like it is a kind of adjective like a where it will enhance or it will increase like a that particular activity. So susukam kartum avyayam rajavidya rajagugyam pavitram idamuttamam pratyakshaka avagamam dharmyam susukam kartum avyayam. Susukam means like a it is very very happy. It is like it will satisfy us. So duskara means it is difficult. Okay. Sanchalam ki manaha krishnaha. So, uh, the mind is flickering, correct? That is what being said here. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Oh Krishna, and to subdue it, I think it is more difficult than controlling the wind. What Arjuna is saying, I can even control the wind. Okay, wind is flow. How much fast like it is coming, correct? It is unable to capture the wind, correct? But Arjuna is saying, like, I can even control the wind, which is so fast and flowing, but I am unable to control my mind. We have to understand one fact. This Arjuna is having so much of concentration because to aim a object, like, because he's a supreme archer, correct? To aim a object, like, to target that object, you need to have a full concentration, complete concentration, correct? Then only you can hit the target, and that is the reason Arjuna been called as a supreme archer. But that Arjuna is asking to Krishna, it is very difficult to control the mind. I can even control the wind. So Arjuna is not asking this question for himself only. He is asking for all of us, on behalf of all of us, correct? We have to appreciate that. We have to show the gratitude to Arjuna also. So any thought process in this particular sloka or in this particular question? Can anyone say you would be able to control the mind very easily, or how you can control the mind?
Yes, Prabhu, it is difficult to
Meditation.
control the mind because mind is wandering here and there. Also during the chanting, also we
Yeah.
observe if we concentrate on one point, but still the mind will take you to some other place. That's why it is very difficult to control.
Yeah.
By
If we
meditation, we
were able
can
to
try
control
to
the mind,
control
we
little
wouldn't be
bit.
here in this class, I guess.
What Manji?
If we are all able to control the mind, we wouldn't be here in the class.
Okay, very good. Okay. Yeah, Manoj, you were saying something.
Yeah, by meditation, we can try to control. I mean, it's only try.
Yeah, correct, exactly. Yeah. So meditation, it was possible very easily in the Satya Yuga. But even to sit in one place, okay, in a secluded place, the whatever, like the art of living room or the very calm and composure place to go and sit, even though you sit, still your mind will wander, oh, what happened in the office? Or it would be like a hops from one branch to another branch, like as a monkey hops, correct? Especially in this Kali Yuga, it is very, 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 very difficult to control the mind. Especially when you want to do the meditation, at the time only a mind will think, oh, what I have to prepare for today's dinner, or what I have to do for the pending work. Did the customer got satisfied with my response or not? So many things will flow in our mind, correct? It's very, very difficult. Okay, that is what Arjuna is asking to Krishna. Whatever system of yoga, what you explained, it seems impractical, and it is unendurable. So and I may be able to control the wind, but unable to control my mind. So what I have to do? That is what Arjuna is asking to Krishna. So Krishna in next loka, he's responding, huh? And
Actually, Prabhu, one more question.
yeah,
Prabhu, like in the last class we were discussing that Krishna was saying to Arjuna, we have to be samdarshina. Means we have to see Krishna in every living entities. So that's why Arjun can ask then why you are indulging me in fight to fight in the war. If I can see every Krishna in every living being, then why I need to fight? That's why he might be saying that it is difficult to control the mind and to think like that.
no, Prabhu, I didn't get to your question.
Prabhu, I
Hello.
was saying in the last class,
Yeah,
we were discussing about this that Krishna was telling Arjuna that we have to be samdarshina.
yeah, correct.
So we have to see Krishna in every living entities.
Yeah, correct.
Then in this war field, Arjun can ask Krishna, then Krishna, why you are indulging me in fight,
Yeah,
in war?
correct. Yeah,
If I can see some darshana, living entities in
yeah.
Duryodhan, and then why you want me to fight? That's why he
Okay.
might be saying that it is difficult to control the mind and think like in this way that everyone is equal and Krishna is inside everyone.
Yeah. Very, very good question, Prabhu. Very good question. First of all, let's appreciate your question. What Arjuna is giving the reasons for not fighting is not making sense for Krishna. Okay, Arjuna, what are the five reasons not giving us like a not to fight? One is he is like a fearful of sinful reaction. Then he is unable to take any decision. Then family tradition will be vanquished. Okay. Then he is seeing irreligious practice will be predominant. So these are the reasons Arjuna is giving not fighting because he's attached to the body of the uh friends and family members. So it is not making sense. And one more thing is already Arjuna or like a Pandavas plus Krishna went as a peace messenger to get the piece of land for Pandavas, from Duryodhana, correct? But Duryodhana and Sakuni, Dhritarashtra, everyone rejected that um, peace request. They mentioned, I will not even give a piece of land to Pandavas. Okay, so Duryodhana ensured that a war is inevitable, correct? Even though when uh, Krishna went as a peace messenger, so to protect dharma, he's asking to fight. Krishna is saying to protect dharma. If this Kurukshetra war is not happening, okay, then what is the situation of Duryodhana? He already got every piece of the land, okay. Then his desire is going to increase, his arrogance will be increased. Then at that time only the irreligion will be predominant, correct? He will not give any respect to the living entity. He will think, okay, I am uncontrollable. I can do whatever I want. Okay. That kind of adharma will be predominant, adharma will be increasing. For that reason, the Kurukshetra war was inevitable. Okay. And one more thing is, though Krishna says, okay, you have to treat everyone equally. Okay. You have to see justice in everyone. But at the same time, to protect dharma, a Kshatriya has to perform his prescribed duty, correct? If a Kshatriya runs away from the battle rather than protecting dharma, then it is injustice to his role, correct? A Brahmana has to teach the Vedic principles to all the living entity without any discrimination, correct? Even irrespective of your status, whether you are rich or poor, a Brahmana has to teach the Vedic principles to the student. The similar manner, a Kshatriya has to fight to protect the Dharma. If Kshatriya moves away from Dharma, then he cannot be called a Kshatriya. Definitely, Krishna don't want Arjuna to go away from the principles of Kshatriya, correct? On that principle, he is asking to fight to protect Dharma. And he's saying, already all these barriers, what is going to happen, all these things, been decided. You just being as a nimitta matram. You are just going to be a instrument um, in my role play, correct? In my act. That is what Krishna says to Arjuna. So whatever your question is still valid, saying that we need to see the Vishnu in every form of it, but at the same time, if the other person not seeing it, and he is doing injustice to others, definitely we can't let it go, because we have to on the principle of protecting dharma. You have to fight at any moment, and any situation. That is what Krishna is instructing to Arjuna, as well as to every one of us. Understood,
Okay,
Prabhu?
Prabhu. Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhu. Clear, Prabhu.
And your point of Arjuna asking this question relevant to that particular thing is still valid, but Arjuna more asking from the case of I may not be able to do this a happiness and distress in a similar manner, or a Sita Prajna in a similar manner. But then, because we are talking about the Karma Yoga section of Bhagavad Gita, correct? Krishna gradually giving the details of all the yoga principles to Arjuna, correct? This section of the Bhagavad Gita is Karma Yoga, correct? Karma Yoga is you do your duty. In the principle of protecting my family members, if I go against the principle of Dharma, then it is not suggested at all. Because when the other person is going on violent mode, you can't say, okay, I am in the Siddha Prajna state, let me go over it. That's what recently Gauranga Darshan Prabhu lecture also, he said very, very clearly, correct? When injustice happening, you can't wear a hat of Siddha Prajna, correct? You have to wear the hat of I need to protect the dharma. I need to protect the justice. For that, I can be a little violent also. That is okay. That is what been suggested by Krishna here. Point taken, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah. So Krishna says here, Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Why Krishna been called as Krishna only can be called as Bhagavan? We already seen multiple times, correct? 6.35. Which sloka? Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Shri Bhagavan. Why only Krishna can be called as Bhagavan?
Prabhu, because only Krishna exhibit all the 64 qualities.
What, Prabhu?
Uh,
Like
Bhagavan is the
Krishna is
one
all
who
the
has all
64
the
qualities.
qualities of six qualities that we discussed in Forbes.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, like
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Okay. Aishwaryasya samagrasya Viryasya yashashashriga Jnana vairagya yochaiva sannam bhaga idingana. Okay. The fame O represents the opulence, R represents renunciation, B represents beauty, and E represents education or knowledge, S represents strength. Okay, that Forbes, Forbes, these six qualities, one who possesses full at all the time, they only can be called as Bhagavan, which is possible only in Krishna. So only Krishna can be called as Bhagavan, correct? All the others are either demigods or they are subordinate to the Supreme Lord, correct? Sri Bhagavan Vacha असंशयं महाबाहो मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम् अभ्यासेन कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च गृह्यते. 1 second. Samba. Okay. Sri Bhagawanuvacha असंशयं महाबाहो मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम् अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येन स गृह्यते. So Sri Bhagavan Vacha, personality of Godhead, asamsayam, undoubtedly, like okay, there is no doubt at all. Definitely, controlling the mind is very, very tough. Okay. Mahabaho, oh, mighty armed one. Manaha, mind. Durnigraham, difficult to curb, like okay, difficult to curb the mind. Salam, chalam, like okay, it is flickering. Abhyasena, it is possible by practice, like okay, abhyasa means like it is practice. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Vairagyena, by detachment. Cha also Grahyate, so can be so controlled. So why mind is flickering? Because the senses are so all the senses are like get attracted to the sense object, correct? When we see an object like okay by our touch or like by our seeing via eyes or like via tasting, the sense object are like pulling the senses, and when the senses are like addicted to the sense object and the material objects like okay, then our mind, the impressions will be created in the mind. Okay, once that impressions are created, then mind is like trying to achieve that impression. Okay, at the time the intelligence and yeah, it will overcome the intelligence, like even though you are saying to the mind, no, no, it is not good, like okay, please do not try to achieve it, the discrimination power will not be there. I want to achieve that particular object or like that particular activity. That is what this senses and the sense objects are controlling the mind. Even though senses and the sense objects are so lower than the mind and intelligence, but it has the powerfulness like to control the mind. That is the reason always they say like we need to control the mind rather than mind is controlling us. How the mind will control us? Because if we get addicted to the senses and sense objects, okay, then the impressions created in the mind in our like okay uh, in our body, it would be like a so strong, even the intelligence cannot discriminate, like okay, even though intelligence or soul will say no, no, please, like hey, do not go, do not do that particular activity, still mind will say no, 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 I want to achieve that. For example, you are seeing all these things like a material activities. Yeah, intelligence supposed to control the mind, but rather than like a intelligence trying to control the mind, senses and sense objects will control the mind because the impressions are so strong, which is created via the senses and sense object. Hope you are able to understand what I am trying to explain, correct? The senses, then the sense object, the hierarchy would be the senses, then the sense object, then mind, then intelligence, then soul. Okay, this is a hierarchy. We need to understand, okay, we are not the body, we are the soul. So using that, like the intelligence supposed to control our mind, but we will be controlled by the senses and sense object because the senses and sense object are creating the impressions like okay of the material objects what we see in our life. For example, okay, I am seeing a iPhone new launch, correct? Then immediately like when I see iPhone or when I see like the BMW car, then immediately like okay, the impression will be so stored in the mind. then mind will try to achieve that. Okay, why I am driving a small car? Like, why can't I drive the BMW? Let me try to achieve it. So those material impressions will keep on registered in our mind. Okay, our senses and sense object will try to achieve that. When we get the chance or when we get an opportunity, it will try to achieve, or even it will create a plan how to achieve that. Okay, so that is what, by repeatedly, like, okay, if we have the attachment or thinking about that particular object, the impressions will be created in our mind, and the senses and sense object will try to achieve that impression, like, okay, or that object or that activity. Okay, so then how we will be able to control that? by by having a discriminating power. And we need to understand, we are not the body, we are the soul. We are having very limited time in this particular material world. What is the reason for us to come to this material world? Not to enjoy the material object, but to enjoy, to go to the spiritual world. Okay, we have done something wrong. We came here like to do our prayachit, correct? Like to do our uh, uh, to correct the things, so that we get a chance to go back to the spiritual world. Okay, then our soul will say, okay, to the intelligence, no, 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 you guide him to control the mind, to engage the mind in the spiritual activities. Hear more about the Lord, hear the pastimes of the Lord, do the devotion service, and whatever things you're doing it, like for the uh, material body, or like, okay, for material activities, that is only temporary, that has only, like, okay, temporary happiness, and we will never be able to get the ever bliss happiness. Okay, by doing the material activities, then the discriminating power will come in our mind by using the intelligence. That is what Krishna says as a vairagyana. Vairagyana means it is detachment. Then abhyasena means it is practice. It is impractical, like, okay, like Arjuna says, sanchalam ki manaha Krishna, I will not be able to control the mind. It is correct only, there is no doubt. That is what even Krishna also saying, there is no doubt. It is tough, it is impossible to not impossible, it is tough to control the mind, but it is possible when we do by practice, like a abhyasena, then vairagyana. Two things we have to do. One is by practice, we keep on uh, feeding to our mind, or we keep on hearing. We have to keep hearing about the glories of the Lord. What is the purpose of our life? Like, why we came here? Why we are suffering? Okay, by doing that, by keep on like doing that practice, and vairagyana, by detachment, material things has to be controlled, or like has to be like, okay, we have to get away, and the spiritual activities, like, okay, has to be performed. That is what the detachment means. Okay, by doing that, yeah. So we know, like, we can't do yoga practice like without controlling the mind, or without the detachment, correct? In the Ashtanga yoga also, like, you see, you have to do the yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dana, dharana, then samadhi. We have to perform all these things the similar manner, like, okay, we have to do this abhyasena, then vairagyana. Like, okay, Sri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Now the Zoom may disconnect, please rejoin. So Krishna says we have to practice, and we have to do the detachment. So everyone able to understand? Hare Krishna. Yeah. So everyone able to understand, like, okay, Arjuna asking a question, how to control the mind, because I am, it is whatever system of yoga which you explained, it is very, very impractical. Okay, I don't think it would be easy to perform in this yoga. Okay, when he said in Dwapar Yoga, but now we are in Kali Yoga. Kali Yoga is even more danger and even more tough, like to perform the uh, devotional activity or like to control the mind. Then he's saying, okay, I can even control the wind, but I can't control my mind. Okay, Sanchalam ki manaha Krishnaha. That's sloka. Then the next sloka, Krishna says, okay, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, it is whatever you say, like, okay, it is, oh, mighty Am Arjuna, oh, son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the mind, the restless mind. I am, uh, I am not denying the fact, okay, it is tough to control the mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Suitable practice is nothing but abhyasena, like, even uh, in our uh, in our work culture, or like a whatever we do in the material world also, practice makes a man perfect, correct? Like that is what we keep hearing, correct? So it is difficult, but like if you practice, you can perfect the art. The similar manner Krishna also says, by suitable practice and by detachment. Detachment is nothing but disengaging ourselves from the material activities or material world and engaging ourselves into the spiritual activities. That is what nothing but yoga. Okay, that yoga, if we do in karma, okay, by doing our karma, whatever activity we perform. For example, okay, what is the karma of uh, or duty of, like, okay, Arjuna? He is a Kshatriya. A Kshatriya is to protect the war, to protect Dharma, he has to fight. That is what a Kshatriya Dharma, okay. What is a Vaishya Dharma? He has to do the business, and like, he has to do the agree, and he has to protect the cow. That is the Vaishya Dharma. What is the Brahmana Dharma? Okay, he has to teach the Vedic principle to all without any discrimination. That is the Brahmana Dharma. What is the Shudra Dharma? Okay, he has to support the Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya in all their activity. That is what the uh, role of, like, each and every Varnashrama system. Correct. The similar manner, what is our dharma? Okay, we have a family to take care. We have a job to do. Okay, before starting anything, like a thank Krishna for whatever he gives. Show the gratitude. Krishna, like, you given this body, and you given the nice life, so that I can perform my devotion service, and I can get a chance to go back to the spiritual world. Okay, so show the gratitude, and then understand what is the purpose of life, why I came here, not to enjoy the material things, but to enjoy, or but to perform the devotion service and to go back to the spiritual world. Okay, and we have to understand we are not the body, we are the soul. By thinking all those things, okay, let me do the suitable practice. What is my suitable practice? Do the Krishna consciousness, like, okay, devotion service. If we perform in my activity, like, okay, I do my activity, karmanyavadigarasya mafaleshu kadachana. I do my activity, but I am not entitled to the result. Okay, let me not get attached to the result. I will surrender everything to Krishna. Okay, by doing that, we are not getting accumulating any karma. If that is the karma yoga. If I do bhakti, if I love the Lord in whatever I do, then it becomes bhakti yoga. If I understand the scripture, I understand, like, a lot of Vedic principles, then it becomes Jnana Yoga. Okay, if I do like a Ashtanga Yoga, I control my breath, I control my surroundings, I control, like, okay, my body, and I control, like, okay, all my activities. Then it becomes Ashtanga Yoga. I attain the Samadhi state, linking oneself to the Supreme, like, okay, linking my soul to the Supreme. Then it becomes Ashtanga Yoga, correct? Like, okay, so this is what, like, a Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga. So all these things like is possible by the suitable practice and by detachment. This is what Krishna is explaining to Arjuna in detail. Hope everyone is able to understand because this is the crux of Bhagavad Gita. This is very, very important. If we are not able to apply this in our day-to-day life, then whatever we learn is not going to be useful at all. It may be uh, applied or like okay, applicable only for us in theory, but not practicing it, like you cannot going to give us the benefit. For example, you want to go from Dubai to Chennai, correct? You have to take a flight ticket. You have to reach the airport. Okay, you taken the flight ticket also. You taken the effort to reach to the airport also, Dubai airport also. But if you are not boarding the flight, then you will not be able to go to the destination. Consider ourselves, okay, we are in this material world. Our destination is to go to the spiritual world, correct? Okay, we know we have to perform the devotion service. We know we have to detach it. We know we have to control our mind by using our intelligence. But if we are not doing any of these things, as the passenger not boarding in the plane, correct? Then he will not be able to reach the destination. The similar way, we know everything, but if we are not doing it, then it will not take us to the spiritual world. That we have to understand. That is what important things to do in our daily life. Okay. So please, like, okay, remember this sloka and perform the devotion service by detachment and by practice. By doing that, we will be able to understand Krishna's position and our position, and we will be able to go to the spiritual world. Hare Krishna, any question? Because this is a very, very important sloka. These two slokas are very, very important because Arjuna having a query and Krishna is answering with like, okay, authority. So this we have to understand in detail. Any doubt, any realization, any feedback, please. These two slokas only we are going to cover today. Three slokas we covered. This is very, very important slokas because this has to be known and this has to be applied in our real life. Then only we will get the real benefit of like attending these classes. Any doubt, any realization, any feedback, please feel free to open up the forum. Hare Krishna. Or everyone understood in full and are able to practice it like from now onwards?
Actually, I wanted to ask you, not now, before also, because when we were saying, it everything looks very nice and it looks like feasible when you listen to it theoretically. But then I think somewhere or the other, when you actually start to implement, it just slips out of your mind, or like you are not able to have that sthita pragyata. That is where I'm targeting, and I think I'm failing terribly, to be very honest.
Yeah,
So that's where, like you have to be, and all said and done again, like, nishkama karma, which is something which I want to achieve, but that's not happening because
yeah,
every time when you start doing, you expect some sort of an appreciation or some sort of a validation.
yeah,
And in fact, I'm sorry, I'm digressing a bit on the discussion, but then I read a very nice article on LinkedIn the other day. Most of the people, like, even though they have achieved everything, or they have fulfilled everything, they are still unhappy inside, and they still need some validation. They still need some,
yeah,
somebody to acknowledge it, and it
yes,
all comes from, uh, well, they said it all comes from your past, upbringing, or your childhood
correct.
traumas, or because you have not healed internally. Nothing externally is actually making you happy. But that's why, in spite of having something, also you're not able to acknowledge it, or like
Yeah,
you're not able to appreciate it. So,
Yeah, correct.
I constantly, whenever I do something, I expect some sort of a acknowledgement or validation. Even it could be something like I make a curry in the house. I expect somebody to say, "Okay, it is nice."
Yeah,
It could be as simple as that.
yeah,
So, where do I have? How do I reach to an extent where an external validation doesn't become important to me? Where that is what Sthapragnata for me means.
yeah,
And
okay.
how do I get there? Because after listening to all this, also, I'm still at the same stage. Though I keep reminding myself, like, okay, it shouldn't really matter. But one thing which you said last week, that really kind of struck me because we are not doing anything. When my daughter asked that question, why we should wish for good for other people when they are troubling us, then you said, like, you have to do it, think that you're doing it for Krishna, not for the other people. You
Yeah,
want to impress Krishna, not others. So
correct.
yeah, that's I'm still stuck in that vicious cycle of, like, looking for validation. That's
Yeah,
that's where the suffering comes from.
yeah. Thanks for being very, very honest. Okay, a very nice realization and a very nice, like, okay, attempt to reach the perfection. Okay, I really appreciate that. Okay, a couple of things we have to let's bisect like your question into multiple parts of it. One, no one can be happy in this material world if they connected only material motives. Okay, because this place is Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. It is place of miseries and nothing is permanent. Let us understand that, accept that. Okay, that is very, very important. No one can be ever happy. If you see, okay, someone is posting their happy moments like in the Instagram, if you think, okay, they are very happy, they are happy always, then they are cheating themselves and they are cheating others also. No one can ever be happy if they connect only to the material activities. Let us be very, very clear. Okay. There is no doubt in that. Okay. That is point number one. Point number two. Okay. I always seek for the validation. See, you prepare a curry, you want that to be perfect. That is completely fine. Okay, you want the perfection. Krishna also wants the perfection, but only thing is, when someone says that curry is nice, okay, you prepared it very, very perfectly and like it is so tasty, then you accept that what to say, like, okay, when someone appreciating that, you accept that, but you don't get carried away with that. Like, you just pass it to Krishna. Krishna, you given me the strength to, or like, okay, the intelligence to make that kind of activity or that kind of curry. It is not me who drives that. Okay, it is you who helped me to prepare that nice boha or like a prasadam for you and devotee. Okay, okay. So expect the result, but don't get attached to the result. That is very, 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 very important. Correct. When otherwise, like, okay, we will go into the ignorant mode. Okay, why I first of all, let me do my work. Okay, why I need to put more effort. Because anyway, I am not going to get attached to the result, because if I get attached to the result, then I will be like, okay, accumulating so much karma. So let me not get attached to the result. So I will not put more effort. No, then it is against the rule of the dharma, because that is what Arjuna was saying. No, no, let me, I will get the sinful reaction if I fight. Okay. So let me not fight. That is what the reason Arjuna says to Krishna. But Krishna says, boss, you are a Kshatriya. If you are run away from the battlefield, then you will get the sinful action, not when you fight to protect dharma. Even if you fight to protect dharma, even if you die, you will get the heavenly kingdom. If you win, you are going to get the earthly kingdom. But at the same time, if you are run away from your if you run away like from your prescribed duties, performing your prescribed duty, then you will get karma. That we have to understand. So whatever prescribed duty given to us to maintain the family, to take care of the subordinates, like to take care of our husband or wife, like, okay, the son and daughter, like, okay, that is our duty. Okay, to give the right education to them, that is our duty. To have the proper etiquettes like followed in family as well as like in this one, what is that, in our professional life, like that is the prescribed duty assigned to us, correct? So slowly, like, okay, you may not achieve 100% like on a day one itself, but slowly by practice it is possible. So there is a very nice quote is there, okay, our attempts may fail, okay, but never fail to attempt, correct? Our attempts may fail, but never fail to attempt. So slowly, like, okay, practice it. The Bhagavad Gita teachings, like, practice it. Recently, I got very, very attracted to one particular sloka, which has been um, said by like His Grace Gaurang Darshan Prabhu. How is it was possible? Because I attended the Bhagavatam Saptaha, because I hear his lecture. By constant hearing, it is possible. We don't know like when the changes can happen in our mind. Correct? As we saw last week, there is a nice pastime. Correct? Like, okay, about the which who's that? Vilva Mangala Thakur. Correct? By just hearing that the prostitute's comment, okay, why you are attached to my body, please like get attached to Krishna, like the Supreme Lord. That changed his moment, that changed his mind, correct? One moment can change our mind, can change our life, correct? That is what, trust me, like hey, you try to uh anu anudvena. Oh, okay. So this loka, last week I was hearing, correct? So this sloka is very, very good. Like, okay, 17.15, Krishna says, Anudveka karam vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyaya abhyashanam chaiva vanmayam tapa uchyate. So austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating others. So anudveka karam means like a whatever we speak, it should not agitate anyone. Okay. So anudveka karam vakyam satyam. We have to speak the truth. Priya hitam. It has to be like a pleasing to others. Okay. Swadhyaya, like, okay, which is Swadhyaya means like a Vedic study. We keep hearing about the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Like that should not be like a, whenever I free, I will hear the Srimad Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. It has to be Nityam, Satatam, like, okay, Nirantaram. Likewise, constantly we have to hear. And abhyasam, like, okay, by practice. Then vakmayam, like, okay, which is a voice. It is the austerity, like, okay, said to be we have to perform. So austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. This is what, like, okay, Krishna says as a perfect human being, correct? So when we try to practice at least in a day, one or two times, when I want to scold others, I will remember this sloka, then immediately, like, okay, I will subside, like, okay, myself, okay, why I need to agitate him, why I need to speak the untruthful word, or like why I need to speak about, like, okay, which is not going to be pleasing him. By doing this practice slowly and gradually, like we will be able to develop the Krishna consciousness, develop a good quality like in us. That is what Krishna says as a abhyasena yuktena. Okay, abhyasa means like a by practice. Here also it says abhyasa, correct? So it is slowly and steadily. We will not say, okay, it is impossible to practice this, like let me not whatever I do, like I am unable to do it, I am unable to practice, like, okay, the anudvega karam vakyam, like I can't speak which is not agitating others, correct? Slowly, if one day in your day, like, okay, if one time in a day, if you are making others happy, or like if you are not making others agitating, like then you are slowly progressing. At the same time, it should not be okay. I want to do like a Anudvega Karamvakyam. Let me artificially do it. No, that is not what Krishna suggests. It has to come from your heart. When we have the desire to do it, Krishna will ensure that, like, okay, those situations arise. Trust me, like a constant hearing of the Vedic studies and the Vedic topics will help us to perform the devotion service in a slowly and gradual manner. Hope I answered all your questions. First, we have to understand, okay, we are not the body, we are the soul. We came here not permanently. It is Dukalayam Ashashwatam. No one can be permanently happy. Okay, we have to go back to the spiritual world. For that, we have to do the devotion service. How I can do the devotion service? Slowly, like steadily. We have to do in the Abhyasana, and we have to, like, okay, in a detachment manner. By doing that, and we should not get attached to any of the result. We have to expect the result for whatever activity we are doing. We have to do it with full attention and a full josh, like, okay, full our 100% we have to give, so that we will get the desired result. But the desired result, we have to surrender to the Lord. We are not the doer. Lord is the doer. Like a Lord is encouraging or influencing us to do that. In that manner, like we have to perform the activity. Hope I answered your question, Mataji. Like a very nice question, very nice realization, and like, okay, please keep this, like, okay, every day in our mind before starting the work, before going to the bed. Like, okay, if you keep on seeing, like, what I have done good, what I have done wrong, self introspect is most important thing, correct? Then we will, okay, I have done something wrong today, let me not repeat that, like a tomorrow. We have, because we spend so much time, like a in educating others, or um, um to comment others, but we hardly, like a, take any moment to teach ourselves, to comment ourselves, correct? That has to be the, yeah, that has to be, like, okay, practiced every day. Self introspect is very, very important for us. Like allocate 5 minutes in the morning, in the evening, like every day. See, like what happened good, what happened, like a bad, analyze it, and try to rectify it. If you need any counseling, like you can approach your well-wisher, you can approach your known circle, like who can give the right advice to you. Please feel free to approach them. Hope.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That was, I think, pretty much you answered all the queries.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this.
Hare Krishna. Like, please keep hearing the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, because these personalities referred so many topics, so many scriptures. Like, okay, then they give the knowledge in a very condensed manner. So this Bhagavad Gita is not, okay, only for grade one, grade two. No, it is life after life. Like, trust me, each word is very, very important, and it has a very deep meaning. That is the reason it is called as Bhagavad Gita. It is a song of the Lord, correct? But we don't give like a much attention. We give like a very less importance. That has to be changed. Okay, then we can be happy ever after, like in this life and life after life. I taken so much time. Like let's do the revision of what been covered. Like in the next class. Hope any more question? We will again cover 32nd, 33rd, 34th sloka in the next class also as a revision. Any further queries or comments or feedback or realization?
Prabhu, I'd like to share one realization.
Yeah, please, Prabhu. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, means as it was said in the slogan, with the practice, I can say really with the practice and association with the devotees and attending Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam classes and chanting, I can say means I have seen some improvement in me from last 5 years if I compare. So in 5 years, I can see some changes in myself, like less anxiety, less angry, less envious. But still, mind is in control, but not fully control. Still, we need more practice. But Krishna's saying is very good thing. Yeah, with the practice only, the vairagya will come, the detachment will come, and daily association is required. Daily, we need to read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or classes we have to attend. So it gives you the positive feeling and mind. So that's my realization in last 5 years. And I started 5 years before what I was and what I am. So I can see some difference.
Very, very good, Prabhu. Like,
Thank you,
thanks
Prabhu.
for sharing that, which will be helpful for others to do that also. It is possible because it is what like been said by all the acharyas and uh, all the practitioners. Like, okay, slowly it would be happening. Correct? It will happen for sure. But the only constant thing is important. We have to keep practicing it. Like, definitely you will see some improvement. You may not see radical changes, like okay, you may see slowly and gradually, like even 0.001%. If you able to um, remember Krishna, or like if you able to do something good for others, then not artificially, but like okay, naturally, then you are making the right progress. But that has to be like the Shravanam Kirtanam has to go on and on and on, even in this material world as well as in the spiritual world. That is what like important. Association is
Yes,
very, very
Prabhu.
important, Prabhu. Associating with the devotees, we may not see like a Vapu and Vani, two type of association is there. Vapu means like, okay, via bodily association, like we may get to see a devotee, we may do the service to them, like, okay, that is the Vapu Seva. Vani Seva is like, okay, whatever they spoke in the scripture, like, okay, by hearing, by reciting to others, like, those are Vani Seva. So Vapu Seva may not be like okay, available all the time. So Vani Seva like has to is available all the time. We have Bhagavad Gita in our mobile all the time. Like so, please read, please revise each and every time. Like whenever you get a time, even 2 minutes or 1 minute also. Like try to refer one sloka of Bhagavad Gita. It will give a new dimension. It will give like a new uh, realization. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thanks, Prabhu. Thanks for sharing. Please, like others also, I'm sure that like everyone will have their own experiences. Please keep hearing, keep remembering Krishna, and never forget Krishna. That is our motto of the life. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I will stop the recording and will end the class.